Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a long time since I've made a video. I think it was around Christmas time, but I wanted to hop back on during Holy Week to try to make. I'm going to try to make 5 videos, one every day leading up to Good Friday, and then maybe something Easter too. But so these 5 videos are going to be reflections on the cross. So today I want to talk about the sovereignty of God displayed in the cross of Jesus Christ. So, really, the big idea is that the cross was not a mistake. So, according to passages like Ephesians 1, we see that from before the foundation of the world, God planned to redeem for himself a people bought by the blood of Jesus Christ that would be shed on the cross thousands and thousands of years after creation even began. Here's my cat. He's fine until I start doing something like this. But okay, and then we know as well from Old Testament prophecies, like Isaiah 53, this righteous sufferer who would be pierced for our transgressions and crushed for our iniquities. Or we see Psalm 22 saying, "All my bones are out of joint, and they have pierced my hands and feet." So we see this idea in the Old Testament of crucifixion, ultimately, a righteous sufferer who would suffer on behalf of God's people and be delivered. And when we get to the actual life of Christ in the Gospels, we see that he views the cross as an absolute necessity of his messianic mission. We read in Mark chapter 8, Jesus speaking to his disciples, it says, "And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must," catch that word, must, "suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again." So, yeah, he views that as he must. He must go and suffer and be rejected by the leaders of Israel during that time. And if we look at the Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, verse 51, again, after telling his disciples that he is going to suffer and die, he is going to be crucified, it says that he set his face to go to Jerusalem, the very place that he knew that he would be betrayed, he would be put on trial, and ultimately be killed by crucifixion. Then the last passage I want to look at is Acts chapter 4. This is amazing. So after Jesus' death, resurrection, and ascension, he sends out the apostles. The church is beginning and they're preaching. And yeah, after one of the great sermons in Acts chapter 3, the apostles gather together to pray. And they're praying to God. And they say, "Why did the Gentiles rage?" They're quoting Psalm 2 here. "Why did the Gentiles rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his anointed. For truly in this city there were gathered together against your holy servant Jesus, whom you anointed." And then he's going to give a list of people, basically, who participated in the crucifixion of Christ. "Herod and Pontius Pilate, along with the Gentiles and the peoples of Israel." So we have Herod the Tetrarch and his own desires and participation in the crucifixion, as well as Pontius Pilate, who is the Roman governor of Judea, and his role and his personal reasons for the crucifixion, wanting to keep the Roman peace. And this guy's stirring up all kinds of trouble and people are riled up about it. So he's trying to squash that. And then you have, the Roman Gentiles who are responsible for actually carrying the thing out. And then they throw in as well, and the peoples of Israel. It was a trial by the Sanhedrin that actually condemned Christ to start out with before he was brought before Pontius Pilate. So he gives this list of people. I'll read it again. So Herod and Pontius Pilate, along with the Gentiles and the peoples of Israel. But then what does he say? "To do whatever your hand and your plan had predestined to take place. So here we have the amazing display of the sovereignty of God. We see all these people with their own evil intentions for wanting to crucify Jesus. The most evil thing they could have done, to crucify the only innocent man who ever lived, right? And so we see them acting on the evil intentions of their heart. And yet God sovereignly working behind this to bring about the ultimate good, the greatest good that humanity has ever seen. God using the crucifixion of Christ to bring about the salvation of mankind. And so, yeah, the ultimate example of God turning the evil actions of mankind around for good. So what does this show us? It ultimately shows us that the cross was not a mistake or some unforeseen event by God, but it is at the very center of God's plan to redeem a rebellious humanity and to make his enemies his forgiven friends. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will put out another video tomorrow. Thanks.